I don't normally do things like this where it's unplanned. But I caught a bug up my butt this morning, and I wanted to go through my swatch cards because I just need to go through and just look at which brands I have the most of as far as watercolor paints from the tube that I pour into full pans that I then store in my watercolor drawer, or my drawer of watercolor pans. These are all full pans in this drawer. Now I do have some colors in half pans, but I'll talk about that later in a different drawer. But the majority of the paints that I use are tube paints, and they're from these full pans that I have poured out from multiple brands. Probably about 7, 8 different brands are represented here. Let me set that aside. So, okay. The most I have are from Holbein, and that is because I had, that was my first set of professional watercolors. It was a set of 24 5 ml tubes. Came in a lovely box that producer Mike got for me, and that was my first set of professional watercolors, and so I'm very fond of that set. And that was what I used, mostly what I used before I started this channel. When I started this channel, I had just recently gotten the some M-grams, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So there's 24 Holbein colors here in this stack, and I think they're a very good, high-quality watercolor product. And I really enjoyed using them when I was using those. But the thing is, I don't use them as much anymore, and that's because I've come to enjoy some of the other brands a little more, and that's because I think I had always noticed that I would sometimes get some muddy mixes with the Holbein, and I realize that's probably because, and I believe others have mentioned this too, that they have a number of multicolor pigments in their sets, and I had gone through these, and I guess I hadn't really thought of it before, but I just realized how many 3 pigment colors they have in this 24 color set. And let's see, yeah, I did organize these. So let's see, yeah. So out of the 24 colors from that set, is one, let's get this organized here. 1, 2, 3, and the pigments are shown here on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, yeah, I've listed the pigments there on the bottom. So these are all 3 pigment colors. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 pigment colors out of that set of 24. And yeah, I maybe that's excessive. I think it is, but you get beautiful colors. I really love these greens, and so I love using them. But I guess it makes sense, when I would actually paint pictures with them, and then I would get muddy colors, and I think, oh, well, that doesn't look that great. And, look at that mineral violet. That's lovely, isn't it? So, yeah, and I'm not as sharp as I used to be. Maybe other people can keep track and remember, okay, don't mix with these with this color, and you'll be fine, and I can't keep track. So that's why I think that's one of the reasons, or the main reason, why I don't use the Holbein paints as much as I used to. That's too bad because, like I said, I am kind of sentimentally attached to those paints. But I still have them. They're in my drawer. And I had only put my favorite colors in the full pans. And I had kept the rest in the half pans, which was how I originally had them. But I still have those. And those are in this other drawer here. So those are all the 24 original half pans that I had poured. I think, yeah. Why is that not? Oh, I think I had moved a couple. Maybe? Oh, there it is. Why is that not even? I don't know. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Oh, that's 24. What is this? Why is there an extra? Why is there a 25th half pan? I don't remember. Okay, that's weird. Anywho, a mystery for another day. So that's in that drawer. My chest of drawers, it's specifically meant to store art supplies, you know, like pencils and pens and other small items, I guess. But I think it's specifically meant for, you know, like pencils and pens and things. But I thought, well, why can't I use it for my watercolor pens? I mean, because I wished I could. And the only thing that worried me was, you know, if the drawers were too shallow and if the pans might stick up a bit too much and I wouldn't be able to close the drawer. But it worked out great. It works out. So that is what I have for Holbein. I have 24 colors from them. Much of them all of them in half pans, but only my favorites in the full pans. So that's that. And the next one that I had the most of turned out to be Vinci. And Vinci wasn't a brand that was on my radar really in the early days. I hadn't heard much about them. But, you know, the more I watched watercolor YouTubers, the more I heard about them. And producer Mike was the one that actually, again, you know, he got me the Holbein. So I think that was for a birthday several years ago. But the Vinci he got, I forget how he heard about them. But yeah, he heard good things and he got me some Vinci. Or no, he got them for himself. He wanted to make him a little travel palette that he could use. So, but also double duties. He also knew that I would be able to use them as well. So, is both of us really. But yeah, so when he got these, and I swatched them out, and there's, oh, how many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. There are 18 colors here, which is, wow, that's a good number of colors. I haven't really used these a lot, and that's unfortunate because I am really impressed with the Vinci watercolors. I wasn't ready to embrace another brand, really, but everything I've seen from them, and also my own swatchings of these paints, tells me that they are very high quality watercolors, and I do want to use them. And that's one of the things that set me off with this video, was because I was thinking I have a project coming up that I was going to start today. And I wanted to use the Vinci watercolors specifically because I hadn't used them really in a project yet. And I really wanted to, because to me they just seem so consistent. consistently high quality. They're an affordable brand. Now, these are, I don't know, significantly less than some of the other brands. They're not dirt cheap or anything, but if you compare these to, okay, I'm going to say it. I think these are pretty much equivalent in quality to Daniel Smith watercolor paints. And, you know, everybody loves Daniel Smith watercolor paints. I don't think a lot of people maybe have not experienced Da Vinci, which Da Vinci is made in California, I believe. Daniel Smith is in Seattle, and M. Graham is in Portland, Oregon. All three companies make high quality watercolors, and I'll talk of course more about M. Graham in a bit. But yeah, I mean, I was discussing with a relative recently. The subject came up of what would be a watercolor brand I would go to if I could only use one. And my answer was to probably, if I were to start over again and just do one watercolor brand, I said I would probably choose Da Vinci. And that is because of the quality of their paints, but also, you know, a huge factor is their affordability as well, because I think everyone knows Daniel Smith is expensive, as is some of the European and Asian-made watercolors. Schmincke, Sennelier, Mission Gold, Rembrandt, you know, all of those can get up there in price, of course. These seem to make a lot more sense budget-wise. Yeah. So we've got Holbein, Da Vinci, next, the most I have, Daniel Smith. And I think I had mentioned before, I was kind of resistant to Daniel Smith. I just thought they were pricier. I didn't want to necessarily spend that much on paints at the time, but producer Mike was very generous in getting a couple of sets from theirs. So some of these came in sets. There was the Essentials set of 6 5 ml tubes. So that gave me warm and cool primaries right away. So that was really useful. And the other set was 3 colors, 3 secondary colors. It's the purple, orange, and green, which was, yeah, it was the Quinacridone burnt orange, the undersea green, and the carbazole violet. Yeah, that was like one of my favorite sets that I ever received, because they're Halloween-y colors. I love it. Yeah, love that. That carbazole violet, oh my gosh, I hadn't really gotten a color so intensely saturated, so intensely tinting. Really dark, very easy to overload and get a little too much, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Beautiful color though. And another set was the Primitech Starter Set, I believe. Again, it was 6 5 ml tubes in that set, and I think, yeah, and then plus an individual tube that producer Mike got as well was the Mummy Bauxite. But yeah, these Hematite Genuine, Jadeite Genuine, Mayan Blue Genuine, Amethyst, Rhodonite, and Piemontite, I believe, came in that set. So that was fun. Very nice colors. One thing that I noticed after getting these was that some of them, not all of them, some of them dried so much that they would, that they shrunk a bit more than I expected and pulled away from the, let me see if I can show you, pulled away from the side of the pan and actually fell out of the pan because it had dried so much and shrunk. And let me see if I can find an example here. Okay, here we go. This one. This is Daniel Smith French Ultramarine, which is, let's see if I can find that here. French Ultramarine. Here we go. So this is the French Ultramarine. Oh, is that the right? Yeah, French Ultramarine. Yeah. So anyway, so this was the pan that I filled. Let me show you. And it had shrunk away, and you can kind of see how on the side there it pulled away from the sides, and it shrunk quite a bit. But anyway, yeah, it just popped right out. So maybe you can see that way how much it had. It's not a big issue. It still works fine, activates fine, and you don't. Outside of the Primitechs, I haven't encountered any Daniel Smith colors that required any scrubbing to get the pigment activated at all. So that's that's not an issue. It's just something a little interesting. I haven't come across. I don't have a lot of pans that do that. So Terre Verte from Utrecht did that. That one crumbled into chunks and popped right out. But yeah, so a couple of some of their Daniel Smith colors did this, something like this. Which, by the way, was not the case with Da Vinci. Da Vinci poured and dried beautifully, I have to say. Maybe I can show you one here from Da Vinci. Yeah, this is a Da Vinci here. And this is the phthalo green. And look at how nicely that dried. I mean, yeah, it caved in a little bit, but it didn't shrink so much that it pulled away from the sides, so that's kind of cool. Very dry, not tacky, very nice. Okay, so that's Daniel Smith, and then the next one is M. Graham, and I am also fond of M. Graham. I think they're excellent quality watercolors. I actually prefer them to the Daniel Smith in many ways. Let's see how many we've got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 13, 14, 15. So almost as many as Daniel Smith. Oh yeah, I just love that color. Maroon Perylene, isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. I kind of I kind of wish I went and had gotten the Quinacridone set of 5 colors that M. Graham had, because oh my, I didn't know what quinacridone was. I didn't know how beautiful and vibrant and transparent those colors were, and wow, yeah, I kind of wish I'd gotten that I have more quinacridones. They're so beautiful. But yeah, so the M. Grahams, okay, yeah, if you are familiar with watercolors, you probably know that M. Graham uses honey in their formula, as does several other brands out there, but they're very upfront in their marketing that they use honey, and that's great. The colors are creamy, they're easily activated, they're vibrant, and they stay tacky pretty much. So yeah, I mean, even months later, you'll get a little bit. Oh my goodness, my finger actually stuck. Yeah, that's my finger. It's stuck to my finger. Yeah, that's an M-gram paint there. Same with this one. This is an M-gram. Yeah, so, oh, yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. They stay tacky. I suppose I understand, depending on what kind of climate you're in, that could vary. That could be either more or less wet for you. With me here in the Pacific Northwest, yeah, it's slightly tacky to the touch, but it's not so wet that it pours out. So, you know, that's not a problem. But yeah, for me, this is up there with Da Vinci. Both of these brands, I would be very happy to have just M-gram or just Da Vinci. They don't have the range of colors that Daniel Smith has. Now, Daniel Smith, you know, M-gram has like 70 colors in their line. I don't know how many are in Da Vinci. Daniel Smith has, I understand, over 250 colors. A lot of those are specialty colors, though, and that's great because there are people out there who they want those special, unusual colors like that sparkle or iridescent or granulate heavily or have color shifting going on or metallic. Or yeah, there's a market for that for sure. It's not something that I necessarily need in my paints, but I think they fill a demand for those specialty paints and that other companies just aren't able to. So that's an advantage that Daniel Smith has, is their wide range of colors and specialty colors. And the next one is, yeah, I think it's Core. This is a special set. This is the Earth Colors set of 6 from Core, and I'm totally into earth shades, earth tones, and greens and browns and oranges, and so this was totally up my alley. I love this. And these are great quality too. These are, so Core is known for their ingredient, an ingredient in their formula called aquazole. I understand that's what allows their paints to move so much on paper. And when I say movement, when you lay the paint down on your paper and the paint travels through and spreads and mixes in maybe with some other colors you've got going on. And so yeah, so it doesn't, so that's what I mean by movement in case you're unfamiliar. Whereas, what's another brand? Mission Gold does not have that quality of fast movement where it just kind of, their Mission Gold is much slower. They move, but just very, very slowly. Now, Core is another pricey brand. Yeah, I only have the one set, the 6 small tubes from them, and I'm happy to have them. They're wonderful colors. But yeah, it's not a brand that I will necessarily, I mean, I'd love to have more from Core, but I just don't see myself getting more from them in the near future anyway, just because they are kind of pricey. Yeah. Definitely the sets are the best way to go. They have 6 color sets, several of those, and then I think they have a 12 color set and a 24 color set. I think, I don't remember the prices offhand, but I think any of those will definitely be a better bargain than if you purchase individual tubes. But yeah, definitely high quality There are several, in this set of 6, there are 3 that have 3 pigment mixes. The Naples yellow, the sap green, and the indigo. Now, obviously you can see how beautiful those colors are, but yeah, so that's something, if that concerns you, that's something to be aware of. And then there's 3 single pigment colors here. Really pretty. Love that Venetian red for sure. Okay, and then I have 6 colors from Schmincke. There's 6 colors? Yeah. 6 colors from Schmincke. And then I hadn't really expected to get any Schmincke paints there. They're from Germany, and here in the U.S., where I'm at, they're very expensive to purchase here, whether it's sets or tubes. Yeah, but this set was it 5? Potter's Pink, Cobalt Violet, French Ultramarine, Perylene Green, Quin Gold. Yeah, it must have been 6. Yeah, in the set. I don't remember exactly how that set came, but I do know that producer Mike did find this. I forget where he purchased it, but it was it did seem like a bargain where he got it from. I want to say it was like $30-something. I don't remember. It was a bargain that he found, so he was able to get me these Schmincke paints. And I said, when I first swatched them out, I did say at the time that, I wasn't that impressed when I did that swatching video with them. And I mean, I didn't have any problem with them, but, I also wasn't blown away for a company that's often spoken of as, one of the best watercolor brands available. And that is, I think it's because they are subtle, the subtle sort of colors. And, you've got your bright and vibrant and in-your-face brands like Mission Gold and Core. Colors can be very intense, and it's like, look at me. Schmincke and Sennelier, I think, and I'll talk about Sennelier in a bit. Schmincke, when I did a painting project after the swatching of these colors, I really enjoyed working with these. What was that? It was the German travelogue piece that I did around Christmas time, and I really enjoyed using these. The way they blended, or I should say mixed and layered, and it wasn't a complex piece. It was a kind of an illustrative piece. This color set, I suppose, is kind of limited. You've got Quin Gold hue and Turner's yellow, and then Potter's pink and a violet hue, and then a Perylene green and French ultramarine. It doesn't really, to me, that's quite a limited assortment, but I think the piece, it worked really great. I'd like to get more, but the thing is, yeah, Schmincke are expensive again. Yeah, I don't see myself getting more Schmincke anytime soon again. Same with Core, probably Daniel Smith, because they are pricey. Great quality. I can't fault the quality, but I can fault the price point. Sennelier, I think I have 6 colors from them. 5 colors from Sennelier. And these were purchased individually, tube by tube, just because, I really wanted to try some Sennelier. And the first one I got was Sennelier Green PG36. And then I picked several colors. And I kind of wish that I had purchased one of their sets. I think they have a 12 tube set that they have that I think is a nice selection of colors that probably would have been a good choice as far as starting with their colors. But you know, it's like, oh, I forget how much was it, $70 I think for that set. It's just hard to shell out that kind of money all, you know, in one go, I guess. So yeah, I just kind of picked up a tube here and there to try these out because I've heard so many good things about Sennelier. And I do think they're really lovely. Oh, look at that. That alizarin crimson deep there and blue and dampen. But yeah, I don't have a good range. I don't have a wide range of their colors. But yeah, eventually maybe I can pick up a few more colors, and I'd like to have a small assortment of them. I'll work a little more with those. High quality again. All of these I don't really have. To me, they're all very good quality. I have Windsor and Newton, 3 colors, 3 individual tubes I picked up. I love that Windsor violet. It's so smooth. It's like, anyway, so that's very pretty. Windsor green, Quinacridone Gold. This was my first Quinacridone Gold. I love Quinacridone Gold. Look at that. But compare this. Okay, this is Windsor Violet. It's dioxazine PV23. But compare this with Daniel Smith's dioxazine violet. Yeah, carbazole violet is dioxazine. That's PV23. But look at those. Compare those. I mean, wow, what a difference, right? I mean, this one is so much more highly saturated. Yeah, I mean, while I love both of them, and I have used the Windsor Violet several times, it just seems, if I had to choose one, I think this would be the obvious choice, the Carbazole Violet, right? I mean, that's just, it's so strong. So, Winsor and Newton professional watercolors, they're good quality. They're fine, but I find myself comparing them with others that are less expensive. These are kind of pricey. To me, they're not worth the high price that they, although that's probably worth it. Oh, I like that one. If I had to choose one, I would do Daniel Smith's Carbazole Violet over Winsor Newton's Windsor Violet, for sure. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe others would disagree. Maybe this is too much. Maybe it's too vibrant, too intense. But that's what I would choose. So yeah, this is a brand I probably won't continue with. So, but anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about also, was which I would repurchase or purchase more of or continue with, as opposed to those I would say, well, kind of, I'd rather not continue with. So Windsor and Newton, that's probably the first one to go. And if I were to start over, I probably would not do those again. I'm sure I can get another Quinacridone Gold from another company that I will like as much. I'm sure, I hope. Yeah, they are pricey, Winsor & Newton Professionals line. So I would say bye-bye on those. Schmincke, again, because of price. Nothing wrong with the paints, unless you're more into, you want the vibrant, bright colors. These are definitely more subtle. At least this set that I have here. Which is, not your typical set. It's a kind of a special assortment of colors. But yeah, they're pricey. So I would say put that off there. Sennelier, beautiful, but again, I don't think they're as pricey as Winsor Newton and Schmincke, but I think I've seen actually some decent price points on the Blick website for Sennelier tubes. And I'm thinking I might try and get a few more colors from Sennelier individual. I'll just pick and choose some colors I don't have or feel I'm lacking in at some time, fill in some spots. So yeah, I kind of want to keep. So yeah, what I'm doing is I'm paring down the brands in case that wasn't clear a moment ago what I meant to do here. And then the Holbein, yeah, I think I just have to say bye-bye to Holbein. Can't keep track of the multi-pigment colors. They have so many of them. They have, what was it, eight 3-pigment colors in this 24 color set. I do find some of their information very confusing on the websites and the charts too. And I think that maybe have something to do with old formulas and new formulas and so forth. But yeah, I can't deal with that. I'm not tossing these out. I'm keeping them all. I'm just saying, you know, if I were to start over or if I had to weed out, then this is what I would come down to. And I believe I would give up core. Again, price. They can be expensive if you want to get individual tubes. Really, I think the only way to possibly for me to build on them is with the sets, and I think the sets have a certain amount of repetition. So if I were to get a second set, I think the chances are to have at least a couple of repeats, which, you know, does not make sense financially. So I think I'm going to put those aside. So now we're down to Sennelier, M. Graham, Da Vinci, and Daniel Smith. And from these, I would probably probably set aside Daniel Smith. The main thing is they can be quite pricey. And I've mentioned before, I don't need to have a lot of these specialty colors that they carry. Primitechs are cool, they're neat, but after what's happened recently with revelations and the official response from the company to those revelations has been really disappointing. And I don't use them enough to say that I need to have these. I mean, they're cool, but no, I don't need to have these. And I often find me choosing just the regular colors over, you know, something sparkly or color shifting. And to me, their regular color line, to me, I think Da Vinci is just as good as Daniel Smith. And they're cheaper. So I'm going to go bye-bye Daniel Smith. So now we are down to Da Vinci, M. Graham, and Sennelier. And I think that's probably what I would go to if I were to start over. And if I were to really cut back and just choose the one brand, that would probably be Da Vinci. Now, like I said, I have yet to use these in a painting project, so I could be totally off. But this is, I'm basing on what I've seen elsewhere and what I've experienced in the testing, mixing, swatching experiences that I've had with these paints. Now, I have played around with them a bit to see how they work, and yeah, I like them. I think they're fabulous paints. So yeah. Oh, wow, that's a bright red. Here we go. Here is Aubergine. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Love that. What else is there? Quinacridone Gold. There you go. Only 2 colors instead of 3. What do you know? Or M-gram. M-gram, I have been able to find some good prices, per tube prices, $11, $12. I've been able to find their colors around that range. Those would be my choices. I would either go M-gram or Da Vinci. Probably first choice Da Vinci, then M-gram, I'm not sure. I think either or, really. They're both awesome paints. Anywho, just a casual little going through of the colors. My relative said that, wow, you have a lot of colors. And it's like, well, I don't think I have. Well, yeah, I guess I do have a lot of colors. It doesn't always seem that way, but yeah, I guess I do. But I've now narrowed it down to my 2 favorite brands right now, and that's Da Vinci and M-gram.